So my last video looked at the love particle. I've been finding all these little maps, okay? I found the flower and tree of life, the digital daisy, and the oak tree. Oak. Do the math. Anyway, there's that little step guy down there that I haven't really figured out the whole thing yet. I looked at different ways of finding 1 of 1 of 7 to 13 of 110. I looked at the Roman numerals. We looked at the 666s. I'm finding all these little maps. But there's got to be one map to rule them all. There's got to be a map that matters. So I decided to look at something yesterday because I am the biggest nerd in this planet. Yes, again, I have attempted to look for synchronicities in the master matrix of them all, the periodic table. If I can find similarities with the reckoner and the periodic table. So we had a music night the other day, came up with a bunch of post-it notes because you forget things. So I turned like a bunch of post-it notes into like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 really big pages of doodles because I find a lot of cool shit. And I didn't even look too hard at it yet. I haven't even like looked into it. I looked at it. So here's what I found. The periodic table. I'm going to say it first. You don't need to see it, guy. So the periodic table is a matrix which is 18 by 7 with another 15 by 2 chunk. Now the 18 by 7 matrix is not completely filled. And it's very interesting how it has one up here and one up here, kind of like a 69 and a 69. But not only that, you're going from an H, which is an 8, to an 8, 5, HE. And there's lots of colors on the periodic table to group them into different stuff. I'm just going to read what I have here. So the periodic table is a matrix. There are holes in there. I believe the periodic table is the last mapping to understand matter. I believe there's a cellular path in there. Why are the elements called the letters they're called, or the numbers they're called? They have a mass. They've given a name and a symbol. You know, like, these are all things for a reason. If you take it 18 times 7, you get 126, which is the total number of lines on the first page of the Bible. 126 lines. You are missing cells from rows 1, 2, and 3. You have a 1 by 16 missing, a 1 by 16 missing, a 1 by 16 missing, a 1 by 10, and a 1 by 10. 16 plus 10 plus 10 is 36. There are 36 missing cells. 126 minus 36 is 90, which means there are 90 cells in the top part of the periodic table. And 15 times 2 is 30 cells in the bottom part of the periodic table. So in total, you have 120 elements, I guess, right? But there's 36 gaps. Altogether now, that'd be 156. Now, the 36 missing in the top part could be the 30 cells from the bottom put in there, plug and play, right? But then you're missing 6 other cells. Like, there's still going to be 6 unaccounted for. But then I'm thinking, what are we doing here? Everything has to have a name. I have 5 cellular energy devices. 6 faces, 8 vertices each. There are 3 wheels on the faces and 5 wheels on the vertices. You start with the vertices to make your 120 volt circuits, and then you move to the faces to make your 221. That's just the way it is. These are all my hypotheses. I have a lot of hypotheses. If you account for the 5 devices as kind of like a closed unit, and you need 1 fishbowl of water to put and find the black hole to make that vacuum. Not vacuum, but it's not just water. H2O. So, yeah, the 30 on the bottom, plus the 5 devices, plus the 1 fishbowl of H2O would be the 36 missing in the periodic table, in my mind. You have a floor plan, there's 5 goddamn devices, and a 3rd fishbowl. A 6th fishbowl. 15 times 2 plus 5 plus 1 plus the 90 is the 120. So 120, that's an interesting everything. I don't want to go there. Okay, so if there are 5 cellular energy devices, there are 58 times 5 wheels. 8 on the vertices, or 8 vertices times 5 plus 6 faces times 3 is 58. 58 times 5, for all of them, is 290 total wheels in the cellular energy solution. Now, 290 wheels. Remember, in the lab where this is set up, you have to initially man-made force create the energy to turn one axle on a vertice to start it all. The whole concept of cellular energy is you're on a bike or something. My child could be on a bike to power a universe, to power our Earth, if it works. It doesn't matter. Slow and steady wins the race. You don't have to be like Lance fucking Armstrong to pedal a bike to make motion, to slowly turn other things as time progresses. So what does that mean? Okay, you got 290 total wheels. The fishbowl doesn't have a wheel, but it still counts as a 1. So there's a fishbowl in the solution and the initial energy source of somebody on a bike. So for a closed loop or closed system, you want to replace the feed that you are providing via the bike eventually by a final feedback loop coming from perhaps said fishbowl back to the input source, so you can get off the bike and it'll still work. So if there's 290 total wheels, you have a fishbowl and you have a source of work. There are 292 wheels, steps, stages. Now, where is 292 on my reckoner? I found it in 5 seconds. You go look at the 110 and 1, 7, 13, 110, 21, 43. At the 110, you go up. You stop at the V. Add them up. 13 plus 28 plus 50 plus 91 plus 110 is 292. Under the V. Because you need 5 of these fuckers. 28 and 13, there's your 11 at the end, and you have a 91, so it ends in a 2. It's 292, guy. Pretty fucking cool. And it's interesting because on the right-hand god, which would be my left, looking at the reckoner, under that G, Fibonacci is the middle of that group of 5, of that half. Okay? But in the middle would be Fibonacci. But to go one further away from the beginning and closer to time, the middle, I never really looked at that column very often. It sums at 292. I need 292 things in my solution. Look at that, eh? Wow. So I wrote here, if there are 290 wheels, you have to account for the energy source to initially rotate an axle, and you have to account for a fishbowl of H2O. There you go. I just did the 292. I told you where it comes from. Okay, the next concept you need to know is the Pink Floyd Chapter 24 problem. A movement is accomplished in 6 stages, and the 7th brings return. Meaning, a circled 6 is a 7. How many 7s are there in 292? Take a fucking wild guess. 41.7. Almost 42. Chapter 24, anyone? So, the reason I'm saying this is that, let's say your wheels on your devices. Let's say I start on the vertice, and there's 5 little wheels. Each wheel has 36 poles, which means solenoids, which has wire wrapped around them. But they're wrapped in an A, B, C configuration. So your A's will be connected to your A's, your B's will be connected to your B's, and your C's will be connected to your C's. And to have an A, B, C wheel of 36, you can have 12 circuits that are 3-pole. There are 12 possible ABC groups. Okay, but before we go there, every wheel counts as a 1, let's say. Now, if you take the circuits from that wheel and then hop somewhere else, or let's say you take a circuit from the ABC, like one of the A. You start from the A with the winds, and then you go to some other or the same device, some other device with the same device. You pick somewhere. You have to give it a name, which is again why I'm using periodic table. Call everything by its right name. into the wild, man. When he dies, he realizes, call everything by its right name. Yeah, some of the magnets in here are going to be our luminaries in the sky. They're going to have names. They're going to have a frame of reference. I have to know which is the front. I got to pick a starting point, and then from there it has to have a name, and then it gets tagged. I should be able to draw this all out before you build anything. Okay? So what I'm thinking right now is that if the magnets have names of luminaries in said device in certain ways, maybe the elements are the names of the wheels on said devices. I don't know if they repeat or whatever, but this is just my way of thinking. So for every 6 that you go away from your initial starting point, like say if you wind this one, 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 if you wind 6 of them, I think the 7th one has to come back to that axle or wheel, or maybe the next wheel in line, something like that. That's what I mean. Like on every 7th you have to come back for the return feed. So 292 divided by 7 is 41.7. Okay, it's 41.7142856. 2 7s is 14. 2 14s is 28. 2 28s is 56. So it goes 7 1 4 2 8 5 6, repeating over and over and over again. You can't have a 41 point something wheel, right? So what's 41 times 7 is 287, which means there are 287 of these groups. But I said there's 290 wheels, so there's 3 off. But then I said there's 292 total steps. That's 5 off. Ooh, look, I got a bridge of where 5 to 1 code meets 3 to 1 code, because going from 287 to 292 is 5, and going from 287 to 290 is 3. Again, there's 5. The 5 could be maybe at the end. There is a feed from each of the wheels going back to that fishbowl. Maybe they all have to go to the fishbowl. Then one leaves the fishbowl and goes back to the input or source. I don't know. It's something like that. So okay, and here's another interesting part. So we talked about the initial. We just looked at the periodic table, and I saw very interesting things. 18 times 7 is 126. That's the number of lines on the first page of my Bible. There's 90 cells in the top part, 30 cells in the bottom part for 120 total cells, but there's 36 gaps in the top. And it totally looks like a 1 of 1 of... wonder where the 7 would be. I wonder what the next grouping of color... We looked at the number of total wheels, plus the fishbowl, plus the initial source of work. We looked at how 292 is on my fucking whiteboard in a very interesting spot. We talked about how to circle 7. Circle 6 is a 7, and how you divide 292 by 7, you get 41 point something. 7, 14, 28, 56, repeat. So you got 4 things repeating. You got a 4 to 1 code. You got a 3 to 1 code between 287 and 290. You got 5 to 1 code between 287 and 292. And you got a 2 to 1 code, really, with the 292, because 292 is just kind of like a 911 with a bubble and a bubble making a V. 292 could be a 191 with a 1 by 2 bubble and 1 by 2 bubble making a V out of 1s, 911 style. So let's go to a new thought. Okay, talking about naming things, calling everything by its right name. There's 47 luminaries in creation on my whiteboard. Some of them are used twice. You know, it ends with 47. I'm going to use 47. There's 120 elements in... There's 120 elements that matter. 47 plus 120 is 167. The middle of reckoner is 76. And it's in a bubble, and you read it backwards and use the bubble first. Maybe that's your 167. It's kind of like, hey, look, take all the luminaries and all the elements. You get a reckoner, an expression of a matrix. You reckon? So 167 total names times 5 devices is 835. 3858, anyone? If there are 3 circuits on each wheel, meaning the A, B, C, there's 3 circuits. I saw there's 12 I guess it could be either or. There's either 12 circuits or 3 circuits, because then you can have 12 hops. That'd be 12 pole. Okay, so maybe I did it backwards, but interestingly enough, each wheel has an ABC. That's what I said. Each wheel has an ABC in terms of winding configuration. You'd wind them 12 times. When you start, you go A, skip to A, skip to A, and I think like it matters which way you wind it. You don't quote me on this. You can Google it later. Until you're actually fucking doing it, does it really matter? So 58 total wheels on one cellular energy device times 5 cellular energy devices, 290 wheels. 290 wheels times 3 is 870 circuits, if you say there are 3 circuits per wheel. 870 minus 835 is 35. Hey look, it's 835. 167 times 5 is 835. We're missing 35, which is an 8. 3 and 5 is an 8. 8, 3, 5, 8. Not only that, what'd I say about circle 6 is a 7? Oh, we're 35 off. Cool. Let's take one group of 7. Oh yeah, I want to talk about that. Canadian artist, the group of 7. A circled 6 is a 7. That's what I call it now. That's a group of 7. It's a group of 7. So, if you're 35 off, okay, if you say there's 3 circuits per wheel, you have a total of 870 circuits for the 5 laboratory room worth of devices. 870 circuits. If you use the names from the periodic table and the luminaries in creation code times the 5, you get 835 names. There are 35 names off, but there's a group of 7 factor from each of the devices that might feed the fishbowl that are unnamed yet. That's what I think. So there'll be not 6, but 7 per device going to the fishbowl for the other 35 that maybe need names. So here we go. I put here 870 circuits total. Each circuit has 12 poles, because remember, 12 poles that are wrapped. 870 times 12 is very close to your trapped 144,000. It's 10,440. I see a 144 and some circles and slashes guy. Okay. So I said to myself, what's the difference between the number of total magnets needed in 5 cellular energy devices and this fucking number? Because they're both in tens of thousands land. So 19,290 magnets minus 10,440 equals 8,850. Got more 8s, more 5s, guy. Get your 2 8s and your 5 in a circle and a slash. If the whole thing is grouped, that's like a 1, 2, 3, 885. 3858, anyone? So, yeah, I started looking at 1 of 7 of 13 of 110 of 2143 as a pattern on the periodic table, and this is as far as I got. I didn't do very much on that. I wanted to stop, but there. I don't know how to talk about that. 1 of 7 could be those guys, because they have different colors, there's different groups of stuff. I can't really remember what they're called, but that's what I do. It's a start. So what did we find out at the end of the day? If there's 3 circuits per wheel, and there's 12 poles per wheel, you get 870 circuits in the cellular energy solution. If you account for the 47 things I've named on my whiteboard and the 120 elements that matter times the 5 devices, you're 35 off. So we literally almost have, like, some things are going to be named the same thing. Like, there's going to be lots of Plutos or something, you know? Like, there's going to be a bunch of them. Like, that part is going to be called that. but it's the same on that guy, and that guy, and that guy, and that guy. There's gotta be a way to use like a decision tree, kind of like branch system for winding shit. Like you know what you're playing with. You know how many axles you have. You know how many wheels you have, depending on whether it's a face or a vertice. You know that there's 36 poles. Well, I have assumed. I think it's pretty good that there's 36 poles. There's reasons why. If you want to find out, find out. I can't even tell you because I forget and I don't care. I'm gonna end with this. I got an email today. I haven't made anything in a while. I don't care. I cleaned a lot. I literally unpacked, I feel like, for the first time I'm moved in. I got an email. Thanks for your help. I just want to drop by and give thanks to your relentless pursuit of decoding reality, which has helped me push closer to the truth, more than you can imagine. I'm not a mathematician, and while my reasoning skills are somewhat sharp, I will likely never attain your perspective and understanding of the finer details that are paramount in seeing the big picture. I have a gut feeling that your work will reach more people than you have ever thought possible in the coming few years, and I wish you nothing but success. You know? This other guy emailed me, too. You know? Honestly, I haven't watched enough videos to have a full picture in my head of the narrative going on, but I plan on getting there. It seems important to me. What are your priorities for the moment? You seem like you could use recruits. Guy, you want to learn, take it upon yourself to learn. I'm just trying to put it together. I can't go back. You can't. You must go forward. Always spinning, spinning, spinning. Sorry. I'm watching fucking Post Malone tattoo face talking about aliens there. Like 3 million views in a day or something. Let's hear what a guy with face tattoos has to say about aliens. I feel like smashing this coffee cup into my face. Repeatedly. So yeah. There's something going on with the periodic table. Like I said, sometimes there's a lot. We haven't looked at, like, there's letters and there's symbols. They have a full name. They have a weight and a number in the order in which they are in the periodic table. But not only that, but probably another order which has to account for the gaps. There has to be something to account for the gaps because the nothing matters. That's the second last column. It weighs a fucking ton. If you add it up in a certain way, which I've done many times in videos, the nothing weighs a ton. Thanks, Hey Rosetta. Thank you. Thank you, Hey Rosetta. What's your name again? What's his name? What's his name? It's gonna piss me off. Was it 2011? What's his name? God damn it. Take it out. I don't think it matters. What's his name? I must have listened to it. There it is. Tim Baker. It's funny how the mind works. Tim Baker, go fuck yourself. The nothing weighs a ton. Okay? Yeah, I have a pursuit. To not have that feeling yourself, to me, makes you seem strange. To me. Like, why don't you? What's wrong with you? What's broken? Can we fix it? Can we fix you? Isn't that song, Fix You? I'm irritated. I'm irritated. All it took. That's all it took, guy. There. Did some math on some post-it notes. Look, broke reality again. Oh no. I was finding the difference between numbers and shit. It's all good. It's all good. There's a lot of moving parts in the solution. You gotta call things by the right name. I have I have had to create a verbiage to describe math and a device, a fantastical device. I've had to make names. A magnetic flywheel, that's what this is. Yeah, okay, it's 0 point energy, whatever. Hard to follow along. And really hard to follow along if you skip steps. You know, the human body cannot physically, even my body cannot physically absorb what I'm absorbing and not get like fucking exhaustively tired or kind of feeling ill. Sometimes it hurts. Love hurts. There. I was listening to Ted. I came up with a lot of book ideas the other day. Yeah, 2 nights ago. Not for me to write. Well, maybe. But, you know, like the Far Side, I'll leave you with this one. You know, like the Far Side comic books with the thing and the picture? I want to do like tombstones. With not people's names and anything, but just the quote on the tombstone. That'd be kind of a cool book or an art gallery if you came in and people looked around and be like, they'd look at it, they'd read it, and they'd think in their world, who do they know that would match with? Matchy-matchy. And I was listening to Ted Nugent, and I was saying, sounds like Aerosmith, only further away. Sounded like Aerosmith, only further away. I don't know. Oh, there's more. Yeah, you know, like how sports jerseys, everyone always gets the number on the back? Well, why don't you ever get a number on the back and the front? So I was thinking, like, getting a 38 on the front and a 58 in the back, because I'm 38, and then my buddy would get a 58 in the front and a 38 in the back. Yeah, the other book we want to write is going to be called The Example of Failure. The non-health book. Not a self-help book, or is it? Book of Torn B stone quotes. What have you done today? I decoded the periodic table. Ish. I started. I see the importance. There's got to be one map that, like, it's a big map, so it's gonna fill a big hole or big chunk of the puzzle. But I don't know. I've rambled. You know, like it boggles my mind how people aren't more interested in this. I'm struggling to not fucking lose it on you. And by you, I mean everyone, all the time. My ethos of life is to do enough work so that no one has to actually talk to me. You know, like in life as a kid, I was like, oh, in school, oh, so if I just do my work and do a good job and everything, I don't have to, like, that person doesn't have to talk to me and tell me what to do and whatever. Cool. They leave me alone if I do good, so I try to do good. Well, for once, I want to not be left alone. This is insanity. This needs to be looked at by more than me. It needs to be explored. You know what the parameters are. 38, 58, 101 of 7 of 110 of 2143, 19,290, 47 luminaries, 120 elements that matter. What else is there? Every human's got 5 senses. A 6th sense, a transmit sense. So we all sync up together. That's why we're the aliens, guy. Post Malone's a fucking alien. But 25 years old, man. Been thinking about my tools lately. Like, I used to have tools. I used to have enough tools to, like, I could probably build a house from scratch. You can do so much with that. Or you can get rid of them and sell them or whatever, and the discrepancy of wealth between that is just retarded. I don't know. It's like teach men to fish, feed them for life kind of thing. All right.